what it takes. March for Justice in Accra. Committee probing Nigeria disturbances begins sitting in Ashanti. Also coming up in this bulletin, KNUST leads the way in developing and manufacturing COVID-19 and EPI vaccines. And in India, thousands fall victim to an elaborate scam involving fake COVID-19 vaccines. We are live on GBC News and GTV. We're also live on Facebook as the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. We are live on DSTV channel 278, I beg your pardon. My name is Valerie Danso. I am Abdul Hayi Mumen. Robert Frimpong Manso will help us with the sign language interpretation of the news. In our very first story, on Tuesday in Accra, the National Democratic Congress planned March for Justice took place through some principal streets in Accra. It was with a call on the government to seize what they describe as the killing of innocent Ghanaians.
This March for Justice was at the behest of the youth wing of the opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, to draw attention to the recent killings of Ghanaians in parts of the country. The convergent point was the Accra shopping mall at Shiashi for party faithful and a section of Ghanaians to express their vexation. Leaders of the protest, NDC members of parliament and party stalwarts addressed the media before hitting the principal streets.
Under President Mahama, Ghana for Ebinum Wakakan Saman Safata or the President Mahama and Aban. Regardless, Obiela Yuha, police in you open. Obiela Yuha was shooting. Obiela Yuha Owi. To the media that is here, this demonstration is your demonstration. What happened to Ahmed Swale? He's one of you. What happened to Latif of Multimedia? He's one of you. What happened to Manasseh Azurawuni? He's one of you. What happened to Prince Minka of XYZ? He's one of you. What happened to Edward Adeti? He's one of you. What happened to Caleb Guda? He's one of you. What happened to Zoe Abubedu? She's one of you. And to the ordinary Ghanaian on the streets, know that you are like Zachariah Samina, who was killed. You are like Kaka, who was killed. You are like Ibrahim Abbas, who was killed. We are all Kaka. Yesterday it was Kaka. Today it is somebody else. Tomorrow it will be you if you do not stand up and speak up.
Mr. President, let's live in this country with love. But if your prescription of peace is that you should kill us and that we keep quiet, then it's fake. And anybody who prescribes to that is a hypocrite.
The first leg was from the Accra shopping mall through the 37 Military Hospital Legon Road. The protesters, with the protection of large numbers of officers and men of the Ghana Police Service, were routed through the Stanbic Heights, then to Aviation Social Center, before getting to the Elwak Lands Commission area, bypassing the Switchback Road and stopping by the seat of government, Flagstaff House. The demonstrators were barricaded by the police, allowing just the National Executive Committee, NEC, of the NDC to present their petition to the presidency. The Deputy Chief of Staff, Mr. Emmanuel Bosman, received the petition on behalf of the president. From here, the demonstrators continued their walk through some principal streets, through the Ridge roundabout, before ending at Parliament House, where Parliament's leadership also received their petition.
It is left to Parliament to cause an investigation into it, and as the Constitution provides, any such investigation or inquiry could lead to legislation, or perhaps tightening the legislation to prevent what we have been witnessing.
The March for Justice demonstrators said they are resolved to use peaceful means to call for justice for murdered Ghanaians in recent times hinges on the belief that, quote, the power of the people is stronger than the people in power, and that is democracy, unquote. Nto bibini nto, GBC News.
We stay with the demonstrators because some of them complained about the hardship in the country under the current administration and made their comparisons. They listed brutality against civilians, disregard for persons with disability, unemployment, among others, as reasons to take part in the demonstration. People from all walks of life joined the protest march for justice, including the physically challenged.
It's just good food. It's not where they are. What is the best job? They know you 1 million, 2 million. Or what you can't know, you put the Ghana. Can you go on my name? Where are they? I did it. Where are they? I did it in November. To see I did. 1 year, my police force said, say, I don't know, boy, and I'm robbers. Yet too much is to say, I don't know. Oh, last show, and the last show. I want you to go to the Liga.
Brothers, let your mama put on. Na kani anu se hwehwe to mama kani anu ye di hwehwe to mama bi akete kani anu ye di hwehwe to mama bi akete and e bu onye so asua bi no all this year bu aka ni ba bi di bu onye asamu na oka ye ani na ba bu all this asamu na oka ye anu na bo aso ye hwe ni ye na bo foi ko foi amu ni suba.
We are not happy. We as a student, we are not happy. So we are here this morning, not in any violent way, but to support what our people is saying that what he's doing is not fair, and that he must do something as a government, as our leader, to do something about it for us.
Look at what I'm holding now. I'm saying, Nana Akufa, the blood of a drug trade is on your head. This simply means I'm not satisfied with the current scale in the country.
And the Majority Leader, Mr. Osei Mensah Bonsu, has forwarded the petition earlier submitted to leadership to the Speaker. The Majority Leader said Ghana's democracy might not be perfect, but it is working. The Minority Leader said Parliament remains a guardian of the fundamental human rights of the citizens, and the legislature should hold the security agencies accountable for their excesses.
We have a duty to preserve and protect our constitution. We have a duty to safeguard our democracy, and we have a responsibility to ensure that Ghana remains a peaceful, stable country. We cannot achieve that if freedom of expression remains on attack, civil liberties are disrespected, and no punishment is meted out. So, Mr. Speaker, we wait for your guidance on this particular matter, as the leader has so laid the paper.
Since 1993, when we came under this dispensation of democratic rule, we've occasionally run into bumps of security forces who are supposed to protect life and property, clashing with citizens, and the Speaker causing some afflictions to citizens. These are not acceptable. The Speaker, we must live up to these happenings. Mr. Speaker, the demonstrators came to Parliament to present their petition. That it happened means that democracy is working in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, it doesn't mean that our democracy is perfect, and we must correct the processes and procedures to ensure that we straighten up our living within the remit of democratic rule.
I say just that we defer any referral today and discuss it at the leadership meeting tomorrow thoroughly before making any pronouncement. Right.
The Ashanti Regional Minister, Mr. Simon Osei Mensah, has admitted ordering the deployment of soldiers from the 4th Infantry Battalion based in Kumasi to augment their police counterparts to restore order and peace at Ejura on the 29th of June this year. This, he says, is based on intelligence gathered at the as the chairman of the Regional Security Council. The regional minister explained that he took that unilateral decision in view of the circumstances to avert any possible disaster from what he described as an attack on the police detail on the ground by the incensed youth. Mr. Osei Mensah was giving testimony before the Ministerial Committee of Inquiry in Kumasi on day one of its public hearing. We'll have the full detail of that story in a short while. Meanwhile, we'll tell you more about what's happening across the country.
It was a pledge by the President Nana Akufo-Addo to make Accra the cleanest city in our part of the world. Herculean though the task is, it was something he wanted to see through successfully. And so, the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Mr. Henry Korte, was on the streets to literally sweep into a pile all that was unpleasing to the eye. The minister says the campaign should be a collective responsibility if it must succeed.
Let's make Accra work agenda. It's not just a knee-jerk reaction, breaking or demolishing houses here and there, but we have a whole plan, a holistic approach to address sanitation issues, to address health. Notable amongst them, that the mother of all is the indiscipline. And that carries everything in Accra. Once you begin to tackle the indiscipline, it kills almost all the other pillars, which will be sanitation, as you talked about, and all that. So we have a think tank that is working slowly. I say slowly because we want to look at how to come up with a blueprint for the Greater Accra region, which are called Accra Bible. We are also mindful of the fact that there are existing laws and acts. So this will only guide the Regional Coordinating Council that has the mandate of coordinating the implementation of government policies and also monitoring and evaluating same, so that we are able to get the MMDAs that are headed by the president representatives in the persons of the MMDCs. So there's a holistic approach, but we decided to start with, see when you go to the restaurant, you start with the golden fried shrimps and all that. That's what we're doing. Right. We will come to the main course. By then, the Accra Bible would have been launched. I say this because what has been the case is that people make references to a certain Salifu Amankwa, people make references to a certain Stanley Niajiri Blankson, a certain Noko Vanderpoel, and tomorrow it is highly likely someone is going to make mention of a certain Henry Korte, simply because we haven't been able to put in place mechanisms to ensure continuity. And that is why I want to ensure, that with the blessings of His Excellency the President, we are able to come up with a blueprint so that tomorrow, if a certain Henry Korte is not there, whatever we have done today will not be in futility.
We'll take you back to the earlier story which happened today, because the organizers of the protest march for justice, the National Democratic Congress, NDC, has described it as very successful. They commended participants for generally comporting themselves and following instructions towards an incident-free march. We now bring you sights and sounds from the protest march with special interest in security and crowd control.
Right from the converging point of the protest march for justice, the organizers put the large crowd into subgroups. These groups were led by some leaders and members of parliament of the National Democratic Congress, NDC. Each subgroup was also accompanied by either a brass band doing blaring music, cheerleading songs from local music bands from both the northern and the southern part of the country, reggae among others. The grouping made the crowd, which numbered over 2,000, easily controllable by both organizers and security officials, especially as the country is still fighting COVID-19. The organizers also made sure that COVID-19 safety protocols were adhered to by all. There was heavy security presence before, during and after the demonstration. The police were stationed at vantage points of the protest, ready to control the crowd and ensure peace and order during the march.
The Chief Executive of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Mr. Mohamed Ajay-Sowa, and the Minister for Trade and Industry, Mr. Alan Chimateng, have visited Makola the day after fire broke at the Hong Kong market.
This is the Hong Kong market, 24 hours after fire ravaged some shops housed here. On Tuesday morning, signs of burning fire were still visible, meaning the fire had not been completely doused due to the highly inflammable items in the shop, which at intervals could be heard exploding. The AMA Chief Executive, Mr. Mohamed Ajay-Sowa, was at Makola, where he applauded personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service for their firefighting efforts on Monday. He assured the traders of the government's support.
We actually don't know the cause of the fire. There have been speculation of a couple of reasons. I'm unable to do so. But once we are able to douse the fire, the fire team with all the other technical people will cause investigation, and that will inform us as to what next to be done.
Also present was the Minister for Trade and Industry, Mr. Alan Chimateng. Mr. Chimateng said he is in talks with the Ghana Enterprises Association to collect data from the affected traders so the support can be channeled satisfactorily.
Government is committed and fully behind them, and we are going to take all the necessary steps to ensure that we support them to get them back into their trade.
GBC News also sought to find out from some of the affected traders whether their shops were insured.
If reforms were done, I think insurance people would have come and insured us, and this wouldn't be our cry and our
On a visit by our news team to the Agbogbloshie market for the latest after the relocation of traders, the head porters at the market are refusing to work in protest against their relocation from the market. Here are the details.
At the time of the visit to Agbogbloshie market, most of the head porters who on normal working days would be seen carrying goods to and fro in the streets. Markets and lorry stations were not in sight. The few who were spotted by cameras were idling about. Some traders at the Agbogbloshie market who pleaded anonymity told our reporter that shoppers and traders heavily relied on the services of head porters who carry their loads for a fee. She said the head porters come in handy to carry loads to places that vehicles cannot access, hence their absence has rendered traders and shoppers helpless. A few steps to the settlement of the head porters saw them sitting with their colleagues and children, hopeless and confused. The head porters told GBC News that the scrap dealers asked them not to work as a demonstration of their protest against their relocation from the Agbogbloshie market. They said head porters who attempted to work were whipped by the scrap dealers. When contacted, the scrap dealers refuted the allegations made by the head porters. The head porters emphasized that the scrap dealers had informed them of the government's decision to evict head porters together with scrap dealers from Agbogbloshie markets, hence the need to lay down their tools in protest from Monday, 5th July until further notice. A community founded by a great warrior who fought several battles for the Akwemus in the 18th century, the then Akwemu Traditional Authority, proud of his exploits, handed him several acres of land as a gift. What was the name of this great warrior? How did this town come by its name? Do you know that this community once hosted the famous Pokwase State Farms? For answers to these and more, the regent of Abensu, Ni Asase, walks us back in history for the coming into being of the town Abensu, originally known as Mabeng Ensu, literally meaning I am near water.
Abensu is a farming and basket weaving community in the Ghanaian municipality of the Greater Accra region. Oral history has it that a great Akwemu warrior by name Dodo Donko, who fought in several battles for the Akwemu state, first settled on this land. The land was gifted to him by the then Akwemu Traditional Authority in the 18th century. This was in appreciation of his selflessness and dedication to the Akwemu state. In his quest to have a settlement in close proximity to a water body, he is said to have heaved a sigh of relief and exclaimed, "Mabensu," when he sighted the Insaki River. This is how the town got its name, but this has been corrupted over the years, and the town is now known as Abensu.
The original name of the town was born out of a statement made by the founder, Mabensu. To wit, I am near water. But this has been corrected over the years to Abensu.
Abensu is run by regents from the different family heads or Wekunukpa. This means Abensu has no chief.
Abensu is run by family heads. As such, we don't install chiefs in this area.
The regent, Nia Sasi, says Abensu offered a vast portion of its land to the government during the tenure of the late Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah to establish the now defunct Pokwase State Farms. Abensu was once a vibrant community when the Pokwase State Farms was operational, but not much activity goes on there now.
The State Farms here, I can know I feel like water was complete. Now the still low.
In the past, this dam supplied water to the entire Abensu and adjoining communities. Now, the dam is overgrown with weeds and all equipment destroyed after the collapse of the Pokwase State Farms.
This dam, now dried up and overgrown with weeds, was constructed to supply water to the farm and workers and even surrounding communities. Now a pale shadow of itself, a private individual is using the reservoir to breed various species of fish.
In other stories, the second prosecution witness in the alleged coup protest trial, Major General Peter Ando, has refuted claims by the defense lawyer for the first accused, Dr. Frederick McPalm, that he caused the male suspect to be locked up in the same guard room as the sixth accused person, WO1 Esther Sa, who was allegedly sexually assaulted by the suspect. According to the witness, although he had visited the accused and the others in the various cells in the guard room, there was no point where he tried enticing her with any promises in exchange of her incriminating the alleged mastermind, Dr. Fred Yao McPalm, in the alleged coup plot.
Cross-examination of the prosecution witness by counsel for the first accused, Mr. Abodo Agbo, told the court
that Major General Peter Ando, then the Director of Defense Intelligence at the Ghana Armed Forces, promised the only female accused among the 10 suspects, W01 Esther San, a promotion in rank if she agreed to incriminate the first accused, and when she refused the offer, he went ahead to contact a third person to convince her to accede to his request. Major General Ando, denying the claim, told the court it was false and that promotions were not within his purview and so was not in the capacity to promise or honor same. Also on the question of the integrity of one of the operatives who was planted amongst the accused persons in order to gather information in a surveillance operation, the witness narrated to the court that Corporal Sule Awaf had performed his assigned task diligently and there was no point where he compromised the mission. The defense lawyer for the first accused person told the court that Corporal Sule Awaf led the surveillance team to retrieve some items in evidence in court from the premises of Citadel Hospital, which is owned by Dr. Mark Palm, because the items, including bombs, guns, and others, were planted by his team through Corporal Sule Awaf to implicate the accused person. Major General Peter Ando told the court that the arrest and picking up of the items were done by BNI operatives and the police with Awaf in handcuffs during the operation. On the activities of the group, Take Action Again, the defense lawyer told the court TAG was an instrument of mass mobilization with the purpose of forming a political party, but the witness was of a contrary view, explaining to the effect that some statements allegedly extracted from the group's WhatsApp communication read that the seeds of the Arab Spring had been sown, awaiting a trigger. He said this and several other actions by the accused persons were clear statements and indication of a coup d'etat. The lawyer quizzed the witness on the technicalities and the authenticity of the videos and audios from which information on the activities of the accused persons were captured, analyzed and relied on in court. According to the lawyer, a technical analysis of the data the witness was attesting to in court exposed the witness department that they were rolled videos which were taken from a hard drive from CCTV and manipulated by voice over application. Major General Ando said he was not privy to that information and that he only relied on original videos and audios recorded from their operatives during surveillance of the accused person's activities. He also refuted suggestions by the lawyer that the whole allegation of a coup plot came with some financial benefits or promotions for the operation purposes of the surveillance. Cross-examination continues on Wednesday, June 7, 2021 at 12 noon.
Ghana and France have formally agreed to improve on the French language and learning in Ghana's public schools from basic to tertiary levels.
The 2021-2022 agreement is new and comes into being following the Linguistic Pact signed in 2018 to create avenues for Ghanaians to take advantage of the existing opportunities in the Francophone world. The new agreement, dubbed Solidarity Fund for Innovative Projects, is to reinforce the French language in Ghana and enable more Ghanaian students to be literate in French. The over 58,000 euro project includes the drafting of French as a foreign language textbook for primary and middle schools, reinforce the training of future French teachers in 6 colleges of education in Ghana, and create language labs in the 6 colleges of education in Ghana. Madame Anne-Sophie Ave is the ambassador of France to Ghana.
The project aims at strengthening the presence of French language in Ghana, supporting the implementation of the Linguistic Pact that you signed with the OIF, the Organisation Internationale de la Francophonie, in May 2018, and contributing to the development of high-quality French language teaching, learning in the public system at all levels.
To the Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, improving French among Ghanaians, especially at the early stage of their education, will make them more marketable in the global space.
To attract French tourists, they've surrounded us. We have a peaceful country, beautiful nation. People should come here and enjoy it. But we are not creating the opportunity for them to come because we don't have the people who can speak the language. So in the interest of socio-economic transformation of the country and living in peace with our neighbors, it is critical for us to take French learning seriously.
The project starts from now to 2022, and both parties are optimistic targets set out to deepen French among Ghanaian students will be met at the end of the set period.
All right. You're still watching Nisa. We are live on GBC News and GTV. We'll take a quick break.